My guest is a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, and author of the book, The Big We, How Giving Circles Unlock Generosity, Strengthen Community, and Make Change. My guest is author Holly Lee, who believes it's never too late to change the world and that anybody can do it. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, and it's so nice to be here.
Glad to have you. All right, first of all, what do you mean by the big we?
The big we is all of us. So I'm trying to make the case in my book that our system works best and really only when all of us, each of us, you, me, all of us citizens, care enough to get educated, link arms, and take actions together that make our communities more free, more fair, more open, more opportunity-full for all.
And what is a giving circle, and how can we start one to do what it is you want us to do?
My giving circle turns 20 this year, which I can't even believe, the Asian Women Giving Circle. And a giving circle is simply people who come together to do good together. Many giving circles start with groups that already kind of exist, like a book group maybe, or a block association, or a group of friends who have lunch often at work. And that group of people can come together to talk about what's important to them, what keeps them up at night, pool some money, and move it together. And then voila, you have a giving circle.
And I love that you talked about money. You say you don't need a lot of it to change the world, and you've seen that firsthand. Describe that.
Yes, in my book, there's a group of teenagers in Arizona who started a giving circle with each person putting in about the cost of a latte. So if you think about going to Starbucks and depending on where you live, that latte might cost $5 or $6. And these kids pulled $5 or $6, I think a week, to make their first pot of money to give away. And the idea caught on and spread from their high school to the next and the next. And their first cycle, I believe, if I remember right, these kids gave away $13,000, their first sort of grant making cycle. And they had to go through a democratic process to find, pitch, argue about, defend, make the case for, and then ultimately select the handful of nonprofits in their local community who got that money.
That is so inspirational.
So
What
great.
in your life, Holly, led you to write this book, to get this message out in the world?
Well, it's been a long time coming, Anne. I've been doing this work for a long time. And like I mentioned, my giving circle turns 20 this summer. And I think part of the reason I wanted to write this book is that I had so many stories of other people around this country who are completely ordinary Americans, but also extraordinary volunteers and community members. And those stories were just kind of bursting to get out. And in the context that we're in right now, in which in my opinion, billionaires are moving a lot of power in the world. It's a good antidote to highlight and lift up stories of regular non-billionaire people who are pooling our time, talent, treasure, testimony, and ties in order to make our communities and neighborhoods better.
And Holly, when you were writing this book, we live in a country right now that is so divided. Did you think about that when you were writing
Yes.
some of your chapters?
Yes, for sure. And I made a real effort to put in some people in my book who are really different than me. And I really wanted to do that because it's really important that we are able to talk across difference, because I truly believe that what unites us is much greater than what divides us. So the metaphor of a kitchen table is sort of threaded throughout my book. And the reason is that kitchen tables have been the locus of a lot of powerful organizing in this country always, especially for women, queer folks, immigrants, and people of color. But to the metaphor of a kitchen table, I add an important tweak, which is add a leaf or two, add a seat or two for people who are just outside your regulars. So for me, my regular friends might be moms with kids in their early 20s. So if I wanted to add a seat or two, I might invite some people who don't have kids or who are from a different neighborhood or who have kids a different age. So just try to think a little bit outside your regulars as you're building your kitchen table as a place to do some good work in your neighborhood.
I love that analogy, and keep doing the work that you are. Thanks so much for being on.
Thanks for having me, Anne.
Take good care.
You too.
Thanks. And for more on how you can create a giving circle and help change the world, and also author Holly Lee and The Big We, go to WTNH.com or the News 8 app.